What's going on, everybody? I wanted to comment about Cenks' recent discussion about George Zimmerman and gun control in the United States, along with everything that's been going on with the George Zimmerman case. Of course, I should have done this a lot sooner, but in regards to everything that's been going on, I just want to sit down and have you all and just talk about George Zimmerman and what I think the problem with the case was. George Zimmerman is a flawed person. I already understand that. He did have his racial biases. He was very, very determined to sit down and find criminals and believe himself to be a vigilante of justice. Now, I'm not going to sit down and say, you know, he was just somebody that you couldn't talk to or just an absolute racist. That's not for me to decide. He had his problems. He had the things that went right in his life. He did have the things that went wrong in his life. No question. Like, before he ever met Trayvon Martin, 2 weeks before that, he'd had somebody burglarize a house, and it did affect him. And maybe he wasn't in the right state of mind. He also had, from what is understood from the recent prosecutor discussing releasing evidence, he did have painkillers, insomnia medicines, whatever, what have you. He was taking prescription drugs. So maybe he wasn't in the right state of mind. There's just so many things about him that kind of make me very intriguing. But I recently wanted to sit down and say that George Zimmerman, guilty or innocent, I think people have to understand exactly what was going on in his life. He'd had a business. He'd been doing well for himself. And maybe he had an anger management issue from his wife or fiance that he couldn't quite figure out. I'm not trying to make an argument for him. What I am trying to make an argument about is that maybe, just maybe, this gun control issue is part of a bigger picture that we actually need to see. In Louisiana, in what I've just learned is that most of the problems, if we had the right social safety nets, if we had the right programs to sit down and limit social inequality, it would actually have helped George Zimmerman a lot better in trying to make a new business for himself, or possibly not necessarily going out every night to sit down and focus on, say, young black males, which it seems that's what's been going on. Of course, I'm not sitting down to defend George Zimmerman in any way, shape, or form. What he did, in my view, yes, he's guilty. He killed somebody that never got to live life. He killed someone basically because he thought that they were doing something wrong, they were suspicious, and he thought that he was above the law. In my view, that was wrong. That was heinous. What the police officers did, some of these people should not have a job anymore. For George Zimmerman to sit down and take a life, sit down and feel that he was strong enough with a gun to shoot someone, that is reprehensible. But maybe if we sit down and we take a step back and recognize what's been going on, we focused on the law. The stand your ground laws are horrible, especially for regulating not just the businesses, but the people, where we've had over 100 deaths thanks to stand your ground laws. If you feel threatened, you can shoot first, ask questions later. So to me, the problem is not just the law. It's also about the social inequality. Maybe if we had more social safety nets, maybe if we had more people to find and counsel George Zimmerman so he wasn't just a ticking time bomb, And there were plenty of signs, plenty of things that we probably need to sit here and take a handle on. We've had at least 3 different school shootings in the last 4 or 5 years. Why don't we have a handle and sit down and have counselors to discuss with people so that way we don't have problems like this? Only America seems to have a really huge problem with either race or gun problems. Sure, people can have guns. It's to protect us from the government if the government decides that they want to forcefully take those guns away. In Hurricane Katrina, what was unconstitutional is for the government to sit down and take people's guns every day. But again, the fact is, I think there is a bigger picture. There is a lot more that we do need to discuss, a lot more nuanced arguments that we can make. Perhaps if we look in Louisiana, if we look in Florida, if we look in the places that actually have stricter gun laws, we might be able to see that maybe we do need the government for some things to assist in not just gun control, but possibly anger management classes. Something so we don't have to have any more incidents such as this one, where someone is basically killed just for walking home with Skittles and Long Island iced tea. That's my view. Again, I'm not here to defend Zimmerman. I'm just here to say that maybe we should attack the true problem, which is social inequality that allows this type of behavior to manifest itself.